What's up, everybody? This is Zoya, the Russian Korean. So last week I had a live stream where I finished reading the Z comic, and it was super exciting. And I'm actually going to make stream highlights for those of you who weren't there or who didn't see it. For you to also to be able to experience this comic with me, I am going to make separate videos from that live stream. But in the meantime, as I am going through those, I thought that today actually I will do something a little different. And that is actually check out the lore, some of the lore at least, the basic lore, let's say, behind Senna and Lucian. Now, why Senna and Lucian? I think it's because in the comment section, you guys have been really suggesting to me Shadow's Embrace. I believe it's a cinematic related to Senna's release. I think it was like a year ago, maybe half a year ago. And I haven't watched it. I was actually specifically staying away from it so that I could make a video that I'm going to make today. Because I really wanted to get like a fuller scope, I guess. Not just watch a cinematic and be like, oh, okay, great. But actually kind of see what the characters are and check them out a little more thoroughly. And I just haven't had the opportunity to do that. But I feel like today is a good day to do it. So why don't we check out Senna and Lucian's story here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the Universe website and just kind of get a general idea, maybe read a biography for Senna and Lucian, just to kind of understand them as characters a little bit more, and then watch the cinematic and see how that turns out for me. Okay, let's start. So I am on the Universe website, and here are the champions. Let's first, I guess, KLMNO. Okay, so L is gonna come first, so we're gonna look at Lucian first. I actually am pretty interested because I don't think I've ever looked at their individual profiles. Ooh, look at this animation here. By the way, I'm neither a Senna nor a Lucian player. I know a little bit how to play Lucian, but I suck. Anyway, that like has nothing to do with the character. Lucian, the Purifier. Here's a quote from the guy. Wield the light, endure the pain, and cleanse all shadow from this world. He is, it just says, region Runeterra. I believe, should I put him with the Shadow Isles? Because that's where Thresh is from. Or should I not? Anyway, I'm gonna find out here. All right, why don't we jump into his biography. From an early age, Lucian wanted nothing more than to be like his father, Urias, who was a member of the ancient order of the Sentinels of Light, while Lucian remained home in Demacia. Oh, okay, so he's a Demacian. Urias ranged far and wide, protecting the living from the wraiths of the Black Mist. Urias would regale Lucian with tales of his adventures, where courage and ingenuity carried the day. Lucian hung on every word, picturing himself saving the people of Runeterra at his father's side, but Urias did not want his son to follow in his footsteps, hoping to keep his family safe from the dangerous life he had chosen. Lucian waited for the day he would become Urias' apprentice, but it never came. Kind of makes me think of the problem of like first generation immigrants. They like work so hard, and when their kids are born, like the second generation living in that country, for them, they like the parents just want all the best, all the most expensive, all the most spoiled things in the world, because they just don't want their children to go through the suffering that they went through. They feel like they've made those sacrifices to have their children's life safe and secure. Anyway, that's just like a little analogy in my head. But on the other hand, Lucian, unlike a lot of the children of first generation immigrants, he is not getting spoiled here with the safety of the life that his father is trying to grant him. Instead, he actually wants to follow in his dad's footsteps. Instead, Lucian stayed in Demacia, where he found himself increasingly at odds with the kingdom's culture. It especially rankled him that Demacia would exile peaceful mages to the hinterlands. Lucian found fulfillment in safeguarding the banished on their perilous journey. Where his countrymen saw only outlaws, reducing the world to good or evil, Lucian looked closer and saw people in need of help. After returning home from one such journey, Lucian found a stranger waiting at his door. She introduced herself as Senna. Okay, the juicy part is starting. A sentinel of light. Cradling Urias' relic pistol in her hands, Senna explained that Lucian's father had died, falling in battle against the long dead wraiths of the Black. I think there is a "the" here twice. I have to turn off my English teacher here. Just read. Senna had been Urias' apprentice, fighting at his side for years. Lucian reeled in shock. Not only was his father dead, but before him stood a woman who had lived the life he had wanted for so long. Are you sure he was reeling only because of that? Or was there something in her, appearance? As Senna made to take her leave, Lucian stopped her at the door, insisting he join her. He knew what came next. marriage. The vigil for lost sentinels. Senna reluctantly allowed Lucian to accompany her. Along the way, the two traded stories of their time with Urias, Senna comforting Lucian with her plain-spoken wisdom, and Lucian easing her pain with fond remembrances. They arrived at Urias' birthplace, far away from Demacian lands. There, they held the vigil for lost sentinels. That's kind of sad. So, they met on the occasion of his father's death. That's like as far from romantic as it can be. But the vigil is drawing them closer together. So, something's happening. As they prepared to depart, dark clouds rolled in over the coast, and wraiths manifested from the foulness, attacking them. Where Lucian was horrified, Senna drew her weapons with a grim familiarity. This was her curse. Since she was a child, tendrils of the black mist had stalked her wherever she went, unleashing its horror should she tarry anywhere for too long. Okay, so she actually has this connection with the black mist since she was a kid. Okay, that's actually good for me to know. As Senna fought one of the creatures, it clawed Urias' pistol from her grip. Lucian retrieved it, sensing his fate opening up before him. The blazing sorrow in his heart manifested in a bolt of light that blasted from the pistol, distracting the wraith so Senna could banish it. Senna fought off the remaining spirits before the pair left, the mist ever on her trail. Never before had one of the uninitiated fired the Sentinel's relic weapon. For the first time, Lucian had shown Senna his potential to join the Order. Of course, he's like the leader's son. Of course he can do it. He doesn't need any initiation. What are you talking about? Eventually, Senna entrusted Lucian with her father's pistol and instructed him in the tactics and doctrines of the Sentinels. He proved himself worthy of the lessons. A bond slowly formed between them. Lucian's warmth and charm, the perfect balance to Senna's discipline and unbreakable resolve. Lucian and Senna battled the myriad evils that ushered forth from the black mist, and their reliance upon each other blossomed into love. The closer Lucian grew to Senna, the more he witnessed the curse she bore. Each conflict hardened him, splitting the world apart into light and shadow, good and evil. Lucian's urge to heal Senna became a crusade he pursued with reckless zeal. Scouring a forgotten vault for a cure, the two sentinels were attacked by the monstrous wraith Thresh. The ghoulish Chain Warden was a dangerous foe, and when Senna called to withdraw and regroup, Lucian refused to turn back. Oh, bad idea. I mean, Senna, I guess, because she's been doing it longer than Lucian. Not that she's necessarily a lot better than him, but she probably knows better in this situation since she does have more experience, so... Anyway, should have listened to her. Throwing himself blindly into the attack, Lucian realized his mistake as Thresh gained the upper hand. Senna stepped into Thresh's path, imploring Lucian to run. As the dust settled, Senna lay dead before him, her soul claimed by Thresh's eldritch lantern. What a sad, sad story. Senna's sacrifice was nearly Lucian's undoing. For years, he stalked Runeterra, a husk of the man he once was, his former warmth replaced with anger and bitterness. Wielding both his pistol and Senna's, Lucian hunted Thresh in the hope of destroying the lantern and granting oblivion to his captive love. On the day the battle finally came, Lucian shattered the lantern, but instead of finding her eternal rest, Senna re-emerged. Okay, resurrection time! Lucian and Senna's love is a bond even death could not sever. As Lucian struggles to grasp Senna's altered form, he's forced to confront his own. Lucian now fights to return his former self, while grappling with the reality that the dark forces he hates are all that keep Senna with him. While Senna has returned with knowledge of a new mission, Lucian remains obsessed with exacting vengeance from Thresh, as he's certain the Chain Warden's machinations have only begun. Alright, so that's the general story here from Lucian's perspective. And there is a Lucian story, but we're not going to get into that today. Actually, his page has quite a lot of stories here. There's Homebound, there's Shadow and Fortune, Hunter of Shadows, and here's a featured image. Look at that. Man, these proportions, how many heads is his height? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like 9 heads. That's crazy. Like, how tall is he? But anyway, cool pistols, man. Okay, time to check out Senna. Here's Senna. She doesn't have an animated banner. That's fine. I guess her husband does. Oh, I like the ring on her left hand here. It means she's married. Senna the Redeemer. Here's her quote. As shadows embrace the light, I will embrace them. Let's read her biography quick. Senna's journey to become a Sentinel of Light started with darkness. It started with the Black Mist. Senna first encountered the mist at an early age, when wreckage from a distant harrowing washed onto the shores of her home island. The black mist within the wreckage awakened upon contact with life. She and her village survived the ensuing storm of souls, thanks to the intervention of a nearby sentinel. But in the wake of the attack, the mist was still mysteriously drawn to Senna. She was cursed, marked by the mist, so its horrors pursued her endlessly, the darkness drawn to her like dying moth to a living flame. She could never know when it would strike next, but worse was when it didn't come, and Senna had to imagine imagine what awaited in every shadow. Poor girl. So she grew up with this curse, as there's fear and pain, quite different from Lucian's secure childhood, right? The sentinel who saved Senna, a brusque veteran named Urias, did not understand why the mist was drawn to a solitary girl, but he knew if she was going to survive, she had to learn to fight back. And so Senna joined Urias in the Sentinels of Light, a sacred order that could be traced back to the Blessed Isles, where the Black Mist originated. She proved to be a deadly enemy of darkness, mastering the relic stone pistol Urias gave her, learning to channel her soul into light. Yet even as Senna grew comfortable working with Urias, relying on him for gruff guidance, she learned to keep others at gun's length. If she allowed them to get too close, they would only be hurt when the mist came again. Senna could never stay in one place for long, something she and Urias learned when those who offered them shelter inevitably found themselves under siege. After even Urias was slain, Senna wasn't sure if she could let anyone get close again. So this mist cursed her not only into constantly fighting fear and pain, but also into loneliness, because she's just afraid that her curse is going to kind of reverb onto everyone she meets, especially those that she would get close to. So she just doesn't get close to anyone, which makes, her relationship with Lucian even more special. Reluctantly, Senna sought out Urias' family in Demacia to tell them of his fate. There, she met his son Lucian, who would not relent until Senna allowed him to join Urias' parting vigil. From the very first moment, she found herself flustered, wondering if her walls were enough to keep out someone so stubborn, full of humor and love. It became clear over time that Lucian's place was with his sentinels as Senna's partner, and Senna as his. I like reading this from a different perspectives. You can tell I'm enjoying this. The more they served together, the deeper their bond became, and Senna realized that the value of her walls wasn't what she kept out, but who she let in. Yet as Lucian's love for Senna grew, so did his desire to save her from her curse. In time, it became his only focus, the light in his eyes passing into his gun, making Senna wary that Lucian would only see sorrow where there was love. It was while researching a cure that Senna and Lucian came into conflict with the sadistic wraiths Thresh, and the whole thing happened. Thresh's chain whipped towards Senna as she stood between the wraith and her husband. More painful than the scythe was seeing the look of anguish on Lucian's face. With her last breath, Senna screamed for Lucian to run. But as Senna felt the death blow and knew she had lost, she realized there was a glimmer of hope. Her whole life, the mist had haunted her. She didn't need to fear it anymore. She could ride it into the darkness of Thresh's lantern and see what was inside. Her curse had become her only chance for salvation. While Lucian spent years seeking to grant his beloved peace, Senna explored her spectral prison. She learned that life had been the origin of her curse. Its spark shone brighter within her than in anyone else. She had been infected with it when she first encountered the wreckage that brought the harrowing. There, she'd been touched by a powerful, lingering soul, giving its unnatural life. It was life that the Black Mist could never let go. She could use this force to pull the mist into herself, empowering her to sever its hold over others in the lantern. Among the souls she freed were sentinels who possessed lost knowledge of the ruined nation's origins of a curse, and the love that created it. When Lucian drove his broken pistol into the lantern, intending to end the torture of the souls within, Senna was waiting. She escaped, shrouded in mist she'd drawn from other souls. She was dead, but also alive, thanks to her curse, wielding a relic stone cannon that could channel darkness along with light, forged from the weapons of fallen sentinels. No longer running from the mist, Senna now understands the suffering of the souls within. Though it's painful, she draws the mist into herself, liberating them and blasting darkness with darkness. Embracing her death every time she transforms into a wraith, she becomes like those she fought, only to be reborn again thanks to the life infecting her. Though Senna and Lucian's love survived even death, now they face the consequences of her rebirth. Senna knows what they have to do next, a secret gleaned within the lantern. Find the ruined king and stop him at any cost. Okay, so there's this dichotomy between life and death. And what gives her power to fight against the darkness is actually the darkness, but also the life that she was infected with at the wreckage of the harrowing, correct? So it gives her power to actually overcome the darkness that is in Thresh's lantern and in the Shadow Isles and all that. So Senna, I would think, is like the first probably exception to Thresh's claim that none escapes the Shadow Isles. And the only other thing on her page is a short story. Again, not gonna read it today, but the time has come to watch the cinematic. So why don't we just go straight to it and check it out. All right, Senna, Shadow's Embrace, Champion Animated Trailer, League of Legends. Came out 7 months ago. Currently has 12 million views. Ooh. Starting with a close-up. Okay. So this is the moment when he blasts the lantern, I'm guessing. Wow, Lucian's, like, blue light looks so cool next to the green mist of Thresh. Oh no, Lucian. Come on, get him! Oh, okay, yep. So he broke the lantern. Yes, these are all the lost souls that were captured in the lantern. Ooh. His face changed. He's dropping his gun. Oh, is she just shooting her husband? But it's light. Ah, she protected him from the scythe. Is she supposed to get pulled back? Oh, they're together. I guess the lantern that we saw at the end explains the look of concern on Senna's face at the end. I like this cinematic. First of all, it looked really cool with all the different lights. Of course, there's the darkness in the background, but then there's the green, the neon, the eerie green, the beautiful blue that contrasts it, and then, of course, the light from Senna's gun that kind of pierces through Lucian and then actually protects him. I felt like that was a really cool image there. Personally, I'm glad that I read the biographies before actually watching this because, like, it makes sense. I feel like if I watched it first, I would have been probably lost as to what's going on, why the fight is happening, and how come, you know, she comes out of the lantern and stays even though all the other souls still go back in. So, yeah, good decision. Pat on the back. Maybe I should try to master my Lucian or Senna a little more so that I can actually, you know, enjoy playing them, because now that I've gotten to know their characters, I feel like they have a really beautiful story. Or maybe I should learn Senna and then tell my husband to play Lucian more so that I can just go support him when he's an ADC. That would be pretty fun. The one idea that I like in this story is that there is the concept of darkness not being able to overcome light. The light of life and love and hope is a lot stronger than the shadow of death and desperation. And I think this dynamic is well portrayed in the story of Senna and Lucian. I also see that there's a champion teaser for Senna called Dark Passage. I'm guessing it would have come out before Shadow's Embrace. It's only 42 seconds. Let me watch it. What the? Oh, is this like... Never mind. I thought it was like a dream or something. Oh, that's when Senna died.
It ends now.
Uh-huh. So this is happening right before what I just watched. So, of course, people would see this first and then Shadow's Embrace, but I watched it the other way around. But I feel like because I read the biography, it kind of doesn't really matter for me. All right. Well, that concludes my checking out of the basic, I guess, lore behind Senna and Lucian. What a beautiful couple. For me personally, it's relatable because I'm also married, so I can understand I can relate to the kind of bond that Senna and Lucian have with each other as husband and wife. Well, what do you guys think of Senna and Lucian? How do you like their lore? How did you like the cinematic? Did you see it when it first came out? Did you watch it later? Do you like playing either of them? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. This was Zoya, the Russian Korean. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.